for particular clinical settings, I learned hands-on experience. There is two different BSM programs in the United States. The pediatric is actually kind of popular.
I'm really happy for you that you're almost at the graduation point from nursing school. Since we're filming this in April, you're graduating in May, right?
Yes, in May.
What does your last semester in your BSM program look like?
The last semester of TCNJ nursing program focuses on community health. It's not in the hospital environment, rather it is more focused on home health, school nursing, and community clinic. And I also focusing on leadership, which is kind of our capstone, which is to lead our sophomore students who start their first clinical rotation on their spring. I'm currently leading them in a hospital about patient communication, etc.
So is your program focusing on clinical portion at the tail end, or is it a blended didactic and clinical?
One of our uniqueness in TCNJ nursing is that our clinical experience starts at the sophomore spring. For our freshman year, we focus on fundamentals of science. The sophomore year, we focus on fundamentals of nursing. And then the junior year, it gets a bit complex with maternity, pediatric, med-surg, and psych clinical rotations. And then senior, we have another med-surg, and then a community. So it's a very wide spectrum in both sciences and clinical component of a BSM program.
And when you say capstone, can you explain more about what that is?
It's a very unique because any other majors that I've heard of, they write like a 20-page paper. It's a kind of a long process, but it depends on other nursing schools. But for TCNJ nursing in particular, our capstone is focusing on leadership. We are the school that raises nurse leaders. So technically, some of the components include shadowing certified nursing officers. For example, I have shadowed a CCU, Critical Care Unit nurse manager at Penn Medicine at Princeton. As I mentioned to you before, I'm leading a sophomore students during their clinicals. I can literally practice my leadership activities on campus.
Yeah, that is exciting. And what do you do as a nursing student in a clinical day?
Generally, a kind of advice that I can give it to you is leave that day empty, because this day should be the clinical only. There are some students having an evening class after clinical. Please don't do that. Clinical is always eating time and nap time. So during this clinical day, I try to learn as best as I can outside of a textbook setting. I know that we as a nursing major is very heavily on textbook, tons of pages to read, but for particular clinical settings, I learn hands-on experience, communicating with nurses, and not just about nurses, about physicians, PTs, OTs, communicating with them and learning about medical skills and how the general routine of hospital goes.
And are you allowed to do a direct patient care as a nursing student?
Yes, we do. The only thing that we are not allowed to do is an IV. The IV stuff needs practice after the graduation, after you get an RN license. Then if you go to the hospital, you have like a residency period. And at that time, you can practice about IVs, but any other interventions, you can do it, and except for the central catheters as well. Those invasive things that we cannot do, but Foley catheter, bed moving, patient moving, transport, administering medications, that's all allowed for this nursing program.
I see. And you also interview patients and do a report on their nursing care and nursing plans, correct?
Yes, we have a very intensive nursing care plans out there. One of the other portions of clinical is there's tons of essays needs to write. Let me just give example of my junior year, which is a very like kind of advanced, we call them correlation guideline. We need to write about the patient's identification, obviously with initials, pathophysiology, medication administered, EKG, assessment data, including the lab data and normal lab ranges of values, religious backgrounds, and 2 nursing diagnoses and a care plan. It's a very extensive care plan. And I, to be honest, as a student nurse, don't want to do it. But it is a good opportunity to learn further in parts of a nursing program.
Right. So you have to include like physiological, psychological, social, and all kind of histories of a patient, which can be extensive. You were born in South Korea. You moved to Brazil in elementary school, lived there for 7 years, and attended nursing school in the state of New Jersey. Why did you choose nursing in the US?
Many people would ask me, since I'm South Korean, I could just go back to Korea and choose nursing school there. As soon as I had experience, such a blissful experience to live in Brazil for 7 years, I want to be having more background as an international nurse. That's probably one of the greatest reasons why I choose nursing in United States. Eventually, what I really like to do is get the licensure both in United States and South Korea, technically dual certified, if per se. And then I just want to extend my identity as international nurse, and it's going to be amazing. So
That's great. The US is a melting pot and we have all kinds of patients, right? With different cultural background and different languages. So I think it's great that you also have that diverse background as a nurse. And could you share what the process of applying for a BSN program in the States?
it's very, very competitive. My friends has been told me, couple of my friends are from India, a couple of my friends from obviously the Asian countries. There is two different BSN programs in the United States. One of them is pre-nursing program, which is a 2+2 program. So you do pre-nursing for 2 years and apply for BSN program for 2 years. Or you can do 4 years direct entry program. I did 4 years direct entry program. The application process is including your SAT score, your high school GPA/transcript, and then your resume. So basically, what kind of activities you did in your high school, your community service, etc., and everything is summed up together and sent to the admission.
Going back to when you were starting nursing school, is there any tips for high school people who want to apply for nursing schools?
Well, first of all, having a strong science background. This is a kind of a regret that I had when I sing now back in the days. I didn't have a very strong science background. The two important sciences in nursing is biology and chemistry. And I don't like neither of them. I would really recommend for all students to take at least a couple AP, Ivy level classes. In Korea, we don't have AP or IB, so high school bio will be definitely enough. They have a very nice curriculum in Korea as well. So make sure to have a good background on biology and chemistry before applying for nursing. There are a lot of people failing on science courses in their freshman year and get retention, and then they don't graduate on time. I would really recommend to have the strong background.
Thank you for sharing that. Asian is minority in the nursing profession in the States, and you're also male Asian nursing student. I wanted to hear your perspective about living as a male Asian nursing student in the US.
It's very interesting. It sometimes feels very pressuring. For example, one of my classes, I was the only guy and I was the only Asian. That was very scary. My professor at the time was African American, and then most of the classmates are white females, which is the predominant population in nursing. And then there was me. It feels very intimidating, but I think it is a kind of a why I choose nursing. When you think about it another way, it is your unique identity. As being a minority, if you think about it as being a unique identity and then make sure you understand about each other's culture, I think this could be used in a good way. And that's probably one of the reasons I feel such a good merit in nursing program.
For sure. You can bring diversity in the field of nursing. And why did you get drawn into nursing?
I have a kind of honest reason and I have kind of a sublime reason about it.
Yeah.
Well, people say about money, right? No, but money is not my main reason. If the money is the main reason, you cannot survive, not even in the program. I have a very strong religious background, and it's Easter today, so I'm just gonna say that. My religious background is Christianity. My major interest from my high school was community service, and I just want to get something related to the community service. And my mom was so funny, and she was a social worker, and she told me one day, "Look, son, you want to do something interesting than just doing a community service. Having your own skill set is going to be very cool. So why not?" So considering every considerations about me pursuing path in community service, I just chose nursing.
It's always interesting to hear why people chose nursing. I'm happy to hear that you are bringing your nursing skill sets into community nursing and what your passion lies. Since graduation is so close to you, which field are you interested in going into after graduation?
My field of interest is medical surgical nursing. For all Korean viewers who don't know about this field, it's the general nursing. I can go to cardiac unit. I can go to the whatever the units I want in the med surg area. My final aim is an ICU. If I get more profound knowledge in med surg, I would like to go for the OR and then later move to PACU, post anesthesia care unit, and then the ICU level.
Why did you want to start in med surg, not critical care right away?
I believe I need to learn more about it. It doesn't mean that I am not confident about myself, but I just need more practice I think the first step, I believe, like if you plan for step by step, is to about knowing about the hospital first, knowing about how does the hospital system works first, then go to more extensive unit. I am a kind of a person that organizes the plan a little bit. That personality would make me to choose message first, then just go straight to the critical care.
Having that strong foundation in med-surg, I think it's beneficial in any field that you go into. I think that's a good plan. And you were also minoring in community health, right?
Public health, yes.
Public health, great. So is that something that you can possibly think about going into too? As you mentioned that your religious background and what you want to do in the future.
Yeah, so I'm taking a community health class now on senior spring, and that really brought up my interest in other areas of nursing, which is a public health nursing. I know this public health nursing is not a big area of nursing in South Korea, but when I see public health, I can really know about the perspective of a community rather than just focusing on one single patient, which was very, very interesting to me. So in the future, if there's any chance to me to focus on community/public health, I'm definitely willing to in any ways.
And is there any place or field that is popular among senior nursing students?
The pediatric is actually kind of popular here in TCNJ because the nearby hospital is Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. It's one of the best pediatric hospital in the United States. So there's a lot of people doing externships there and getting a lot of interest in pediatrics. One of the top fields I heard was a pediatric oncology. The maternity is popular. Some of the folks are dreaming to being a midwife. And some of them are like, no, I just want to I want to watch trauma. So they like trauma and ICU stuff. So it's a lot of fields, but I'm seeing a lot of trends in maternity in general.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Because when I was graduating, peds was very popular. And I think half of my class wanted to go into peds.
So that's why I gave a sneak peek to go to master's. Yeah.
You'll get it. How are nursing students managing their finance? From your experience?
I think the most important part to assert is time management. You can work at the school or you can work outside of the school to manage your finance and then get some your daily allowance over there. But if you do that, yes, you get paid, but you are also working in the middle of a Monday to Friday, which you have classes and your clinical experiences. So I think if you're willing to work between nursing school, it's very important to manage times in between. And then spend money on food. It's something that people often forget about it. Nursing student needs to eat well. My major expense of money is food. So I think it's best to spend money on food compared to any other stuff. I tend to reduce expenses in something that are not necessary. I think that's one of the good ways to just organize your finance in a good way.
Are you or nursing students interested in investment?
Not in particular that I noted, but if you're interested, welcome to do so. There's a lot of options for investment nowadays.
I was thinking if I ever go back to nursing school life, I wish that I knew about, different investing options. I was wondering what nowadays people are thinking in nursing school.
There is a lot of options in regards to investment. There's investment club. There's a lot of those student organizations on school, so you can refer to that for future investments. I've never seen anyone invest in stock market. Not gonna lie.
Oh, really?
Actually, a good way to get money. You can do the patient care technician at the hospital, and then they actually pay a lot. And if that is part of your investment, plus your nursing experience and including externship as well, that's going to be a good way of investment because PCTs and patient transporters, they get decently paid.
And I'm not trying to make this like a job interview, but I was reading your resume and your leadership and involvement in different organizations. It really stuck out to me. How are you making your resume stronger for job search?
Constantly updating LinkedIn is number one. My kind of a passion for LinkedIn started when I was in the junior year, because since I'm an international student, I cannot get a good externship PCTs or something like that. So what I choose to do is to make myself a strong candidate in the future. I decided to focus more on how to organize my LinkedIn. Every single school has their own career center. You can refer to that and get the resume checked out. You can get some advices about how to manage your LinkedIn on there. You can set some appointments over there. The other ways that I could do is to join to student organizations related to service, health, leadership, etc. And that organization would also provide opportunities to revise resume and any other opportunities for leadership. By making that, I could make my resume a bit more stronger.
Are you planning to get a job where they sponsor you in the state, or are you planning to go back to Korea?
You can see as a South Korean male, I have a very important duty. I'm planning to go to Katyusha. I'm planning to go there, but that's only once a year. So if I don't get that one, I need to go to the actual military service. Considering I need to study also for the Korean national exam, I think my first job will start at South Korea. But if I want to really work at the States, there's also sponsoring opportunities.
When I was graduating, I heard a lot of people say that sponsorship is hard to get, but in reality, I feel there are a myriad of opportunities that you can have for sponsorship. I don't know what the situation will be after you graduate and get NCLEX and after 2 years, but I'm very hopeful about that. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I would really recommend if you're part of a nursing program, don't just do nursing stuff. Join to other student organizations. I think you mentioned about my leadership opportunities a lot. Other student organizations are definitely helpful to increase your nursing experience and explore other perspectives of nursing. Some of the students are actually minoring in psychology, or probably that could potentially connect to nursing or any other parts of healthcare. Explore new opportunities, always ask questions, keep good connections with professors, and surviving for 4 years.
So, those 4 years will never come back. And the relationships that you have or experiences that you have, they will carry on throughout your life and throughout your nursing career. But so I second everything you just said. Taewan, how can the subscribers and the listeners connect with you online?
You can connect me through the LinkedIn. That's my main source. You can connect me. You can send me messages about if any questions. I'll be glad to ask any questions.